So guys, we're going to talk about Nami, the Nami meal deck. So the things you need to know about how it should run, how you should combat with it. A lot of people make a lot of mistakes with this deck. Mill means mill. You don't. It's not really an aggro deck. So we're going to touch over my list. What's in my list? What else you can put in a list? How you should be playing an army deck compared to any other deck, which is very different. And I'm not saying I'm an expert at it, but I'm just giving my input towards the community as well in how Nami should be played. So the actual Nami leader is, as an additional rule, when your deck reaches 0 cards, you win the match instead of losing. So with one non-attached, when your opponent takes damage to their life through the attack of this leader, you may trash one card from the top of your deck. Now, we're just going to touch over the leader straight up. So I don't really like attacking into their life. That gives them answers if they take the life. It helps them counter out of it, whatever else. I just use the leader purely to clear board. So they have something on board that's a low cost, around 5k or lower, I'll just swing into it, or 6, so I may put it on underneath and swing into it. I only really use the leader ability of attaching one Don when it becomes very viable for me to attack their leader, let them take the life to mill that one card that I need milled. So I don't just actively attack to keep milling one card. If I'm one card short of being able to mill, I will use the leader and I will attack their leader. And if I know I'm going to have game, definitely I will attack. So there's a lot of things behind it too. You want to have it. It's strange because on a normal deck, you want to use all your Don on your turn, and you want to make it. You want to spread it out fairly. Now with Nami, you want to keep your Don for your opponent's turn. Yes, you can use some of it, but you don't want to be using all of it when you're going to have it so many attacks coming back at you, depending on how many they've got on board. You want to calculate with what you've got in your hand, with the event cards that you can see on the video at the moment, to be able to counter out of stuff. So you really want to be using your Don on your opponent's turn. That is the most effective time to use your Don. Apart from some cards, which I'll go through the cards that I've got, and I'll show you some other cards that you can put in the deck as well. It's actually a really fun deck. So Kaya is a 1 cost, you draw 2, trash 2 on play. I mean, you don't want to be throwing this out straight at the start because you do. So you've lost 1 out of hand already, let's say. So you got 4. You got to draw 2 to trash 2. If you've already got 4 good cards in hand, you don't want to be trashing them either. You want to be using this card to get rid of stuff that you can't use. For example, the Impel Down All-Stars, that is literally only in the deck for the trigger ability of 2 cards, or you can pitch it with Gum Gum Gavel. So things like this you want to use to pitch, when you got a dead hand, you want to be pitching cards you can't use. If you're at a point where you can't use this card, you'd want to pitch that too. Maybe even the blocker as well, just depends where you're at. But you don't want to be using Kaya right at the start, because I have done it before when I was a newbie playing this deck. Just try to play Kaya back to back to get through the deck. It's only 2, draw 2, trash 2. So it's more to fix your hand than anything else. You don't want to be just using it willy-nilly. You want to be able to use it at the right time. Now, not a lot of people run Nojiko. Nojiko, on play, if your leader is Nami, return up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 less to its owner's hand. So this is really good. I only play 1, just because obviously Nami is mill, so you either get it or you don't. But it is very good. So what I do is I will play this out for 2. I'll bounce a 5 cost or less back to hand. Now, the best part is, if you have this either in hand or in your life, right, you can bounce it back. So, alright, someone swings at me for 8 or whatever. I play this, 9, Snake Dance, bring Nojiko back. The trigger abilities, you may return one of your characters to its owner's hand, return up to one of your opponent's 5 cost or less characters to its owner's hand. So it's really good, even good on trigger, so you can bounce whatever you want back. Normally you want to be bouncing the Nojikos and the Kais back to hand, because then you can replay them out and use them again. So Nojiko is really good. I really like having this card in the deck. Now Boodle. Boodle is actually really good. Like, a lot of people don't run it. Previously, I don't know about now. There is a lot of different Nami builds out there now. People like More That Mill guy. He's actually a really good Nami builder, really good Nami content, so definitely go check him out as well. Boodle is a blocker. You may trash the top card of your deck on KO. So pretty much if they KO it or you block with it, you mill a card. I actually use this in one of my videos, which I'll drop the link on here while I'm still chatting about this, where I played this out against a Katakuri, and I had one card left on the, I think it was one or two cards left in my deck. I think it was one. Anyway, so they couldn't get around it because if they attacked, I block, mill, win. They trash, they KO it, I win because I still mill a card because it's KO. So it can come in clutch in some matches. You just got to know when to play it out, know when to sit it there. But definitely just to mill one card off the top of the deck is still pretty good. I have Margaret. So Margaret is basically a blocker, and for 3 Don you draw a card. Yeah, it's probably not the greatest, but you got a blocker and you draw a card off that, which is still pretty good. This one's actually my favourite. So OP09 Nami, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 blue event card and put it to your hand, then play the rest on the bottom of the deck in any order. And it's when attacking. So I try and get this one out early. I'll get it out at turn 1. If they make me go first, bang, I'll play it out if I got it in hand. Even turn 2, if I was 2 on, I'd still play it out. Especially against like black or yellow, I think it is. You kind of want to get it out early. Those are probably the 2 decks, or colours I should say, that I'm really weary of playing it. I mean, blue has bounce effects, but black and yellow just get rid of stuff pretty easily. So I don't really play this in the black or yellow just because it doesn't get value. It gets to board and then they KO it. So I just try and play it very early against those decks and just hope they don't KO it. So Overheat's another good one. I only got 1 in the deck. It was very viable at one point. So your leader or one of your characters gains 4,000 power, then return up to 1 active character with a cost of 3 or less to the owner's hand. So yet again, if you're just doing you can bounce your Nojiko or Kaya back and you can reuse them again. So that's really viable too. I did have Zeph in the deck at one point. That's another good card, which we'll go on to talk about other cards as well. Desert Sparta's really good. So one of your characters gains, or leaders, gains plus 2,000 during the battle. Then look at the top 3 cards of your deck and return them to the top or bottom of the deck in any order. So basically with that deck, what you want to do, or with that card, is what you want to do is you look at your 3 cards, you go, okay, do I need them now or do I need them later? If you need them later, put them to the bottom. At least you can rearrange the last 3 cards how you want it and you know what the last 3 cards are going to be. Forgot to mention about the trigger on this one. Up to one of your characters with a cost of 4 or less, you return it to the owner's hand. So you return that one, yeah, so if you trigger that off life, you just return the opponent's 4 cost less to the owner's hand if you can. If not, same thing again, just return Kaya or Nojiko. And the trigger on this one is draw 2 trash 1 card from your hand. So it's a really good trigger. I don't want to take this one out at all because just the drawing ability is too good. We've got All Stars, which is basically there for draw 2 cards or to use alongside Gavel to play Gavel and trash a card to use the Gavel's ability. So really it's just there for trigger ability of draw 2 cards. We've got 2 Brickfist. So Brickfist was in the decks earlier on. I've only running 2 because you can return up to 1 character with a 4 cost less to the owner's hand. And Dofi being around, there's a little bit you can bounce back with. You've got Nojiko, you've got Overheat, you've got Snake Dance, and you've got Brickfist to help you kind of push stuff back. Oh, sorry, and Gum Gavel. So you got a couple of things in the deck can help you bounce back things, especially if you're trying to slow your opponent down. So this one's got a trigger of a main effect as well. So you activate main, so you just do the main, exactly what it says. And yeah, so that's not too bad either. This one is up to one of your characters all leaders or characters gains 2,000 power during the battle, then you may trash a card from the top of your deck. Or trigger effect is draw one card and trash the top card of your deck. So always do that order right. Draw a card, trash a card. Don't trash a card, draw a card, because if you do that and you trash the card first and it's a card that you need, you kind of stuffed your turn up then. So these cards are pretty much close to being a full staple in the deck. I know most of the event cards are, except for Overheat and Brickfist. What else isn't really... Not everyone runs a Nojiko or Boodle, but I've noticed that some people are running Boodle a lot more. But yeah, so most of this is staples. But this card here is really good. It comes in clutch so much. We have Gum Gum Giant Gavel. So you may trash one card from your hand up to one of your leaders gains 4,000 power during this battle. Then you may trash 2 cards of the top of your deck. And the trigger is return up to one character with a cost of 4 or less to its owner's hand. I don't always use it. I only use it, the trigger, if I really need it. So what I normally do is I normally use it for trashing 2 cards. Now the key word also in this event card is up to one of your leaders. Only leaders, not characters. I have stuffed up on some of my videos. I don't know if they've made it to being on my channel. But I have stuffed up when I've played, and I have tried to use this on a character online on the sim. And it hasn't worked, and I'm like, oh no, I've just ruined a turn. Sanji's Peel Off is a 3 cost, you draw 2 cards. Activate main is... trigger is activate main of the card, so just draw 2 cards. So it's really good in life. You'll notice that you want to see the stuff that says draw cards, so you'd want to see your all-stars in there. You want to see Desert Sparta in there, you want to see Sanji in there, you want to see the Usopp Rubber Band in there. They're vital cards to have in life, just to be able to draw and trigger the cards, especially Sanji's Peel Off, because it costs 3 to draw 2. If you trigger that, that's free to draw, so it's pretty good. White Snake, this is everyone's bane of existence at my local card store. So White Snake is up to one of your leaders or characters gains 1,000 power for the turn, not for the battle, for the turn. Then draw a card. The trigger is look at the top 5 cards of your deck, then place them in any order at the top or bottom of your deck. So with this card, if I'm going to counter, I pay my 2, I go White Snake, draw a card, I leave it on top of my leader so my opponent knows where I'm at and I know where I'm at. But if you get 2 White Snakes out on your opponent's turn, it's 7k that they've got to try and get around. So it really can stuff up their turn with their dom management. So they've probably already got their thing mapped out before they attack, and then you drop this and it just changes the whole game. Definitely great card to have in the deck. I would not be taking it out anytime soon. We all know what this Snake Dance does. Give up to one of your leaders' characters 4,000 power during the battle. Then return up to one of your characters to its owner's hand. Trigger is you may return one of the characters to its owner's hand. Return up to one of your opponent's characters 5 cost or lower characters to the owner's hand. So pretty much you take a character back 5 costs lower of your opponent's character and go back to hand. This is actually really good. This can slow your opponent down if you bounce their card back to hand on trigger, like the character. It also works if you use it and either bounce a Kyra or Nojiko back to hand. Fantastic, which we have talked about. This card here is Love Love Beam, also known as Love Love Mellow. So this card's really good. So you make sure you're at 4 cards, right? So I've got 4 cards in hand. I've got how many have done standing? I use Love Love Mellow. I'm now down to 3 because I've used Love Love Mellow. Now I can draw back up to 4. So I have seen online there is a lot of people that misplay this Love Love Mellow, and you don't really want to be playing it unless you can draw off a 2. Otherwise you make it too hard. You fall too far behind. So let's have a look at some more cards. So Inazuma, which you can see below my face cam. I did have this in the deck at one point when I was running more of an Impel Down build. If you have 2 or less cards in hand, draw 2 cards. Now when you start to get up to the 6 cost, around the 5-6 cost, it gets a little bit harder to play Nami. I mean, not overly too much harder, but you're committing more Don. So you're already committing 6 Don to this. Now, if you're at a point where you can't play this out because A, you've got more than 2 cards in hand, because at the end of the turn you're going to draw 2 if you've only got 2 or less in hand. And B, like if you got your opponent's board is full, you don't want to be playing this. You probably want to use it as counter at this point. You don't want to be putting too much Don to characters, so you don't want to be committing too much Don on your turn. You rather be committing more Don on your opponent's turn. So with all the events that you can see that I have in my list, you definitely want to be holding as much Don back as you can, because depending on if there's how many attacks are coming at you, what value are those attacks coming at you, you really need to map it out. You really need to look at your hand. You really need to look at, okay, what attacks can I get out of on the opponent's board? How are they going to swing their attacks? Can I get around all of them? If I can't, do I just take 1 or 2 life? But yeah, you do not want to be playing stuff if you cannot afford to, and you don't want to be taking life too early. Me, myself, in opinion, I like to try and get down to around, by turn 5, I want to be under 30 cards in the deck. And I don't want to be taking life. So I don't really take life unless I really have to. So I have played Dad's Bones in the deck before too. If your leader type includes Brokeworks, this character gains 1000 power for every 2 events in your trash. But I've done it for the unplayability. Draw 2 cards, then trash 1 card from your hand. It's a 5 cost, I know, and you draw 2 cards and trash it from hand. It's a little bit better than Zeph's on playability of, like, I like the fact that you can bounce a Kai back to hand and you trash 2 cards. But if you can draw 2 cards to trash 1 card, you're fixing your hand up versus then this complete milling. So let's say if you got garbage in hand, you play this, you draw 2, you trash 1. And you got to play this at the right time too, because you really got to think about how much Don you're committing to each thing you play, because you want maximum Don on your opponent's turn. And I'll probably say this all the way throughout the video, but if you really want to build Nami, you really got to think how it plays. You can't just go in and play aggro Nami with something like this. It is not going to work. There is people online that are building aggro versions of Nami, which I'm pretty sure you'll find out, but if you're wanting to try and build a mill side of Nami, this is probably the way to go. Okay, so this was another card that was played in Nami, Buggy, Impel Down. So basically you're going to have more of an Impel Down version. So there was like Deathwink, you've got the All-Stars there. They just put a little bit more Impel Down in, and it's look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 blue Impel Down type card, other than Buggy, add it to hand, then place the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. So the back, I think it was obviously OPO3, OPO4 I think, people were playing the Buggy in there just to search, and it would also rearrange how the deck is. So, alright, I've looked at the top 5, I didn't hit anything, but I can then go, okay, this is how I want to put everything back in the deck. So you can map out how you want those last 5 cards, or if you kept doing it, you could like rearrange, let's say, the last 10 plus cards in your deck. So this one wasn't a bad one at all. It did take, you could take stuff from the deck if you hit, but yeah, so this one was another one that was played in Nami. Also, this one was played in Nami very early, so this is an OPO2, so this was played in probably straight from OPO3. On play, add up to 1 blue event card with a cost of 1 from your trash to your hand. So this was really good to get back all your 1 costs, like your Usopp, your Desert Sparta, and your Gum Gum Gavel. So this was really viable at one point to try and just filter back your 1 cost events to get them back out again to keep defending. So this was really good in the deck as well. I never played, I have tried to play this one. I just don't know how it fits in there. It's a non-counter. So it's Rush, and then add 1 Don. When this character deals damage to your opponent's life, you may trash 7 cards from the top of your deck. So it is good. It is the same concept as Zeph with the trashing 7 cards. But where would you fit it? Like, you've already got to commit 4 Don to this. So you want to be playing this maybe 1, maybe 2 obs, and you want to be playing this more to the end of the game, more late game, where you're right towards the end. Let's say you've got 7 cards left to mill. If you play that out for 4, attach the rest of your Don, swing for what, 11, and then hope and pray that they just take that life so you can mill your last 7, definitely good. It's more of an end game thing, not during the game, because yet again, when you're at 4 Don, you're not going to commit all 4 Don just to play this out and to rush. Like, you're going to want to play it out at a different time. So you got to really think the strategy on how to play it out. So Zeph, good old Zeph, attach 1 Don. When this character deals damage to your opponent's life, you may trash 7 cards from the top of your deck. On play, return up to 1 card with a cost of 3 less to the owner's hand, then trash 2 cards from the top of your deck. So you could bounce back Kaya. This was a Kaya bounce back. Back then, no one played Nojiko, so it was this small Kaya, so you'd just be bouncing Kaya back to hand, playing it back out again. We've gone over Nojiko. We've gone over Boodle. Okay, so this is another one, Belmere. I have tried Belmere in the deck. So, attach 1 Don. When this character deals damage to your opponent's life, you may trash 7 cards from the top of your deck. On KO, you may trash 3 cards from the top of your deck. So, I just don't know where you'd fit Belmere in. It seems like to have a really cool concept, and there's quite a few cards to help you mill. It's just trying to build it so you can mill. So the way I've built mine, you can mill. It takes some time, yes, but you can't take away too many events. I feel if you do that, the deck struggles quite a bit. But yet again, this is another good OPO3 card. Apis was also good on play. Plus it's a 2k counter. You may trash 2 cards from your hand, so yet again, you're going to trash 2 cards that you don't want to play. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 with the East Blue type, and add it to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. So yet again, you can filter through your deck, so you could go, okay, I've got my event now. What else do I want to put at the bottom, and what order do I want them in? So these kinds of cards, people go, oh, they're useless, but you're mapping out your last few cards of your deck. So when you hit a point, you're going, okay, so I need to get this, and I've milled. So it's really good. So I did go through a stage of playing the Kuja Pirate build. So Kuja Pirates, there is still quite a few bits and pieces in there. You've got the Margaret, because she's Amazon Lily, which this Gloriosa can search off. You've got Love Beam, you've got Snake Dance. So I had Gloriosas in there, which is look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Amazon Lily or Kuja Pirates type card other than Gloriosa, Elder Nyon, or how you say it. Add it to your hand, then place the rest of the bottom of the deck in any order. So I did have this at one stage, and I did have a little bit of a Kuja Pirate build package, which I do have that video. I will drop the link on this part 2 in the top right hand corner of the video. So this other build was pretty good. I put I think 2 of these in there at this stage, just to search out, and it's a 2k counter, for nothing else. We've gone over the Margaret. Okay, so here's Deathwing. So your leader or one of your characters gains up to 6,000 power during the battle, then draw cards until you have 2 cards in hand. And then its trigger is return up to 1 character with a cost of 7 less to the owner's hand. So this is a really good card. This was played in the Impel Down. It has stayed in Nami for quite some time. I took it out just to try something else that works. Not saying that Deathwing doesn't work, but everyone's got their own opinion on stuff. But I'm just showing you guys cards that could work for you that don't work for others, kind of thing. And you really got to think about it, like 3 costs. You really got to work out and map out when to play it too. Definitely a good card. Not saying it's not, but always consider cards. And this is why I'm just trying to show you guys all the event cards and other cards that you can put in the deck, and to help with milling. If you want to build a full mill Nami deck instead of a half aggro, half I did try this card in the deck purely because of draw 1 card with the trigger. And I mean, you can pitch it with Gavel, but I kind of find that it doesn't really have a place in the deck. Yeah, it's only giving you that extra 1 draw. But I didn't find it working well for me, but I thought I would still mention it. It's still got a trigger of draw 1 card. I found this card while I was looking. So this card is going to be an EDO2. Now this one is a 2 cost. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. Reveal 1 card with a 4 cost or more, and add it to your hand. then place the rest of the bottom of the deck in any order. So this could be not good for Nami, but if you could put some 4 costs in there, could be good. It's an activate main as well, so I'm not too sure how this would go, because we only really got up to 3 costs. But I'm just pointing out other cards that you could possibly use, depending on how you build it. But yeah, so pretty much what you got to realize with Nami is that it being a mill deck, it plays very different. You're not attacking a lot. You don't want to attack life, so you think about it like something like an L. You attack life, you're giving them more answers to hand. You want to be attacking the board, so you want to attack things like whatever the characters are. Obviously 5,000 or less. You can attach 1 or 2 Don. You don't want to be attaching too much Don to attack, because then you're losing out on Don on your opponent's turn. You want maximum Don on your opponent's turn. You don't want to be using it on your turn unless you need to, like Kaya's, Nojiko's, Boodle, you know, those kind of things. You don't want to be swinging big. You do lose out if you leave yourself too open with Nami. I will say another thing, that triggers don't always go the way you want them to. Triggers can definitely suck at times. I've had it where I haven't got a good trigger all game, like no draw card triggers, just crap triggers like the snake, or the white snake dance is alright, you know, like just triggers that are good, or no triggers at all, like characters. So I would take away from this, the cards that I've showed you, you can make any kind of deck with Nami. There's other videos out there as well that you can check out, as I have with More That Mill Guy. He's actually got some really good content on Nami. He probably has more of a Nami knowledge than myself, but I just wanted to have my take on it. I just wanted to let you guys know how I play it. I just try and map out everything. I try and have certain cards at the start, like Nami. I try and have at least a couple of event cards in there, so like, depending on what you're going up against, Gavel's really good to have in the start hand. Usopp Rubber Band's good to have in the start hand. You want the one... Definitely want the 1-drop Nami, because you can play that out on turn 1 or turn 2. And play it out and use it on your following turn's swing. I don't put anything under it as swing. I just swing to search. As she then becomes a target, her becoming a target, that's 1 less attack at you. So yeah, it's just all dependent on how you want to play Nami. You can try and play it aggro. There is a 7 Warlords of the Sea build. I have not built it. I have not played it yet. But I really enjoyed my Nami build. So thanks guys for stopping by, checking out, listening to my Nami advice, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.